Okay, welcome back everybody to Battery Technology's monthly look at the stories of the month that we think are of importance. It's already December 1st here, but we're going to talk about November's stories. I'm Mike Anderson. I'm the editor-in-chief of Battery Technology. I'm with Maria Guerra, the senior editor of Battery Technology, and our comrade, Charlie Parker, who is the founder and lead consultant for Ratel Consulting. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, this time I didn't lose the toss, so Maria did, and so she's going to go first.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Can you see it there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so today I chose a recall from Tesla. This time is Tesla's Powerwall 2 battery system recall. Again, I chose this news because it's very relevant and very important. Again, the issue of quality control. Quality control is a must when you're using battery cells from other companies. It's very important to do so. Tesla last month recorded 10,500 Powerwall 2 battery systems. Powerwall 3, it's not part of this recall. And Tesla stated that reported that 22 incidents of overheating, including 5 fires that caused minor property damage, but no injuries were reported. When I just wanted to highlight that when a company is as big as Tesla, when it's using third-party battery cells at scale, at the same time, you are also assembling components in the thousands of even millions that were not manufactured by your company, in this case, Tesla. And I think that it's very important that they continue doing incoming inspections of every component that they, let me stop sharing, of every component that they are assembling in their own products. It's very important for them to do quality check of these components, because they go into their systems and then they sell it as a Tesla product, which you're trusting the company with a safe product in your own home, especially for these Powerwall battery systems units. I think it's good for Tesla to come, forward with the CPSC. It shows accountability from them, and it's Tesla's energy division is growing really fast in the past years, and I think by showing accountability, it's also sending the message that starting now they will, I guess, be more consistent with the quality control that they have in their factories. And that's it from me.
That's great. Yeah. It's good to remember that whoever you're getting your component from, whoever your supplier is, it's your name on it. That's very important. So excellent. I don't know if you guys saw, but just in today's news, or actually at the end of last week, BYD announced a major recall of their plug-in hybrids because of batteries made by LG, and so it's a widespread issue, and quality never stops being important. So, okay, I'll go next. We'll save the best for last, and I'll go next. And I'll try to be fast. So we started talking about Elon Musk and his political activities outside of Tesla in 2023, and I had a nice talk with a consultant, or with an investor whom I saw on Seeking Alpha, and I asked, well, he's saying a lot of weird things on Twitter or X, and you think that can have any effect? And the guy was like, well, it could over time, but right now most investors don't seem to really care, And now since then, we had Elon involved with DOEG. We had Elon involved in German politics, and of course, he's never quieted down on his, let us say, distinctive stance on things like immigration and so on X. So when this happens, we've wondered all along, well, can't this have an effect on sales? And of course, there were a lot of protests after the DOGE stuff started happening.
Yeah.
But many people still shrug their shoulders and say, well, Tesla, they need a new model, and maybe that's why sales are down. Well, now, as of this month, or at least last month, we now have the science, okay, and it says that Yale study has confirmed that Musk's political activities cost Tesla over 1 million vehicle sales since 2022. The numbers aren't pretty. They say that without his doing these activities, sales might have been 67 to 83% higher. Let me scroll down here a bit. They would have been 150% higher in Q1 of this year. And meanwhile, it's not only that he was hurting his own company by doing this stuff, he was helping his rivals. So competitors saw a 17 to 22% sales increase as customers substituted away from Tesla vehicles. So, I'm occasionally asked by people in the business community, it's like, well, why are you harping on Musk's politics? That's really not your publication is about, and that's so true. But it is a business publication, and this is showing that the business matters. And now I probably wouldn't have bothered bringing this up one more time, except for I have respect for our friends at the Toyota Motor Company, and was a little chagrined to see this on X. And here's Toyota CEO Akio Toyoda at a NASCAR event at Fuji Speedway. And to get into the American character, he went in full MAGA mufti with the hat and the Trump and Vance shirt. And, all I would say is perhaps a word to the wise would be, it might be a slippery slope. Please think twice before doing this. So, so that's what I got. So I turn it over to you, Charlie, for your comments.
Okay. Seeing that hat is quite the show. So anyhow, I am going to offer a structured critique of a recent Alix Partners EV battery report. This is the one, this is on the MSN outlet. This particular headline is building too many EV battery factories. Additional outlets like McKee are offering coverage. The report makes bold claims. Global EV battery capacity exceeds demand, and North America and Europe have overbuilt by 2x, China by 5x, and 2030 the world battery capacity will be 3 times demand. So on the surface that sounds dire, but when you actually examine the questionable data and assumptions behind the report, you get a more complicated, and in some cases their conclusions, Alix Partners conclusions, simply don't hold. So there is a lot of nuance to this. I'm going to take my time.
Take your time, man.
Points. So the report collapses battery demand into one category, that's passenger EVs. This is a fundamental modeling flaw. Demand does not equal battery demand does not equal passenger vehicle demand. It's like forecasting global steel demand using only SUV production. Today we have grid scale storage accelerating faster than any other application. We have commercial fleets electrifying heavy duty vehicles, off-grid backup, stationary storage outside of utility. Yet none of these high growth areas appear meaningfully in the Alix Partners. The report also treats global battery capacity as fungible. This is just not the case. Markets are increasingly regionalized. LFP cells built in China are not substitutes for NMC cells required for US tax credit eligible SUVs, vice versa. China has overcapacity, but China's capacity cannot simply be poured into North America or Europe. Regional segmentation means global oversupply is not the right metric. Regional balances, North America still faces some shortages, especially for SUVs and commercial fleets. The report heavily leans on short-term political headwinds as if they are permanent structural trends. Yes, we've seen some EV demand soften recently. The US has rolled back some incentives. Several automakers have slowed or canceled projects. We know about all this. But building a 2030 forecast based on what's happened in the past 18 months is short-sighted. Short-term softness does not equal long-term collapse, and it certainly doesn't justify forecasting tripling of global excess capacity. So Alix Partners almost entirely ignores the cost curve dynamics of new capacity. Historically, when battery capacity increases, costs fall, sometimes dramatically. Yields improve, input prices drop, recyclers supply more materials, vertical integration drives margins. Overcapacity can accelerate cost reductions, which in turn stimulates adoption across new markets. Their thesis states that high production cost will make factories uneconomic, assumes cost curves are static. They are not. Last, the report overestimates the strategic value of optionality. Governments and large OEMs don't build plants simply for next year's sales forecast. They build them to secure supply, reduce geopolitical exposure, maintain industrial capability. And in the US, battery belt capacity is not just a commercial asset, it's an industrial policy instrument. Idle capacity today can be retooled and repurposed towards stationary storage tomorrow. We've already seen examples of this. High performance chemistries can shift towards heavy duty vehicles or aviation, and recycling economics continue to improve dramatically when local production scales. So calling these stranded assets reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how national industrial strategy works. But to be fair, the report does surface some short-term risks. EV sales have slowed in some markets. A number of factories are being paused or downsized. Some investors are looking at this as pressure points, but these are cyclical. Every industry is cyclical. So the real takeaway isn't that we've overbuilt battery factories, it's that we've built ahead of the demand curve, diversifying across EVs, grid storage, heavy duty, industrial electrification, and that policy, technology, and cost dynamics are shifting too fast for a linear EV-only forecast to capture. If you look behind the headlines, the narrative of a looming battery glut is just not supported by a full spectrum view of the market. In fact, the biggest risk may be that stakeholders interpret this report as a signal to slow investment, just when the broader electrification ecosystem is about to accelerate. And you don't have to take my word for it. In August of 2025, McKinsey offered a more balanced and regional attuned counterpoint to ALEX Partners' alarmist battery glut thesis. ALEX Partners projected global battery capacity overshooting demand by up to 3x in 2030. McKinsey sees a more moderate surplus, closer to 1.3x, with a significant regional variation. China faces clear overcapacity, but Europe undersupplied, and North America about an equilibrium. McKinsey emphasizes nuanced drivers like chemistry mismatches, policy incentive, and upstream constraints. McKinsey also adjusts for real-world factors like scrap rates, yield loss, process ramp-up, and phased growth. That means you're not building the factory for today's demand, you're looking out 12 months, which is what your customers are telling you to do anyway. Strategically, ALEX implies retrenchment and risk aversion. This is really a ham-fisted list of recommendations that would feed directly into their restructuring service line. They are, after all, a bankruptcy advisory. So while McKinsey recommends selective investment, regional repositioning, and supply chain localization as competitive levers to navigate a fragmented market, it's not a retreat, it's a realignment. That's my spiel. All right.
Yeah, that's excellent. The idea that they could call the entire sphere only EVs, your first point there was, that I'm dumbfounded, really. So
it's a big part of the market. It's a majority segment, but that's if you look at, I guess, what you call blue water applications, drones, robotics, it's about to get much bigger in many different ways. So
right, and as you pointed out, the battery energy storage area is already kind of a point of growth, and even for companies like Tesla, whom we've talked about a lot, it was a bright spot in an otherwise rather dire year. And the other thing that people always forget is that more EVs were sold this year than last year, and more EVs were sold last year than the year before. It is still growing. It's just that the growth has slowed, but that's very different from shrinking. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, this is excellent. This is a lot of good stuff. Charlie, keep your notes because I'll try and get an article out of you for it. And that's plenty for this month. And we look forward to talking again in a couple of weeks and maybe do a year wrap up. And we look forward to speaking to you all again out there. And thank you very much.